brings you the story of the legendary rich man, Candido Da Rocha. Candido Da Rocha was a very wealthy Lagosian. It is also popularly believed that he was the first known millionaire in Nigeria. Da Rocha, as he was fondly referred to, was born in 1860 as the son of João S. and Da Rocha, a former slave who returned from Brazil to start a business empire. The junior Da Rocha, Candido, was reported to have just the language skills of Portuguese and Alesha on his return. He attended the popular CMS Grammar School in Lagos, where he was the head boy. He was a friend to late Herbert Macaulay, who was also his schoolmate. Da Rocha's water business. Candido was said to have laid water pipes from Idu to Lagos Island, Yaba, Ebute Metta and other areas where there were high demand of pipe-borne water. He was said to have lived in his house and operated the Idu waterworks that served the whole of Lagos in the 20s. The colonial administrators were said to be paying Da Rocha for the supply of water to Lagos State. His house had the first borehole and also the first water fountain. He was said to have sold water to the people from his house. He made fortune from his water business such that he became very rich that the government had to take it over from him. His other business includes money lending, which he did with two other rich men, Gerry Gutierrez and Sadu Williams, and together that started a bank named the Lagos Native Bank. He also went into fishery business and also opened a restaurant. How Candido Da Rocha became a billion through gold business. In what was to eventually mark the beginning of his fortunes, an English gold prospector who wanted to travel back to England approached Da Rocha in 1894 with bars of gold that he had mined and wanted to dispose of. But there was a problem of funds, as he did not have all the money required to buy the goods. The Englishman wanted £6,000. So, Candido Da Rocha approached the Bank of West Africa, now known as First Bank. The bank lent Candido the required money with which he purchased the purchase of the gold bars. He was later to file the gold bars into gold dust and sold on retail to the local goldsmiths. He was said to have made on a whopping 200% profit on the sales. Candido Da Rocha founded Lagos Native Bank. Candido Da Rocha went into the banking business and was the first African to own a bank called Lagos Native Bank, which was established in 1907. He joined hands with two businessmen, Gerry Gutierrez and Sadu Williams, to establish the Lagos Native Bank that ran the bank himself. Family life. Research revealed that Candido Da Rocha lived alone most of his adult life and was never formally married to any woman, whether traditionally, in court or in the church, despite being a strong Catholic. He was said to be a difficult man to live with. 3 women were known to have had children for him and lived with him briefly. One of the women was originally from the old Gold Coast, now Ghana, who had his first child and only son called Alexander Candido Da Rocha. The second woman who had a son for him died at an early age. Thereafter, he had 4 daughters. 3 of these were born by the same woman and 1 daughter, Mrs. Eniton Salako, from another woman. The daughters, 3 in all, include Louisa Eben Turton. The second daughter was called Angelica Folashade, who later became Mrs. Thomas. Candido Da Rocha's generosity. Describing Da Rocha's generosity, his 90-year-old granddaughter said, "People would come to him, crying, requesting financial assistance, from the balcony, asking how much they needed. He would throw down the money to them." Candido S. and Da Rocha died in 1959 and is buried at Ikoyi Cemetery. Though there was no limousine or Rolls-Royce, Da Rocha was said to have moved around in his luxury horse-drawn carriage. One of the granddaughters of Candido Da Rocha, Angelica Iadiran, in an interview with The Punch, said of the wealth of her grandfather, Candido Da Rocha was quite close to the British and the Western world then. He was highly respected and highly disciplined. He didn't like dishonesty and lying. I stayed with him in this house for about 3 years when my mother moved in here to look after him. I was very close to him. He loved me and I was very fond of him. I learned a lot from him. During the Second World War, Da Rocha offered one of his properties, Bonanza Hotel, to the British government to protect some Nigerian students at King's College, who were initially in a boarding house at Racecourse. The school was run there until the war was over. Among his close friends was Herbert Macaulay. Da Rocha refused to be a politician. When he was nominated to contest an election and people approached him requesting money to support his electioneering, he said, "If you want Da Rocha you vote for him, and if you want Da Rocha's money don't vote for me." Twice, when Macaulay was arrested by the British colonial government for speaking out against them, Da Rocha paid a fine on his behalf to prevent Macaulay from going to jail and warned that he would not come to his rescue the third time. Da Rocha was a staunch Catholic. He respected God. He was very rich, he was a millionaire in those days and very generous. The elite in those days sent their dirty clothes to Britain for laundry. The Da Rochas, Johnsons, Dohertys and the Elous were foremost wealthy people. They didn't wash their clothes in Nigeria. They sent them abroad for laundry. Some of them had about 5 dozen shirts, 5 dozen vests, 5 dozen pants, and everything they could afford. Candido Da Rocha did not stumble on money, neither did he stole people's commonwealth before he became stupendously rich. His wealth could be traced to his father João Da Rocha. João Da Rocha, who was from Elisha, was captured as a slave at the age of 10 and taken away to Brazil in 1840. João later got married to Angelica Josefina Da Rocha while in Brazil. The couple gave birth to Candido while still in Brazil. In 1871, Essen alongside other slaves regained their freedom and a lot of slaves were able to trace their roots back to the Yoruba tribe. On his return from Brazil, Essen Da Rocha was one of the returnees that approached the then Queen Victoria's representative in Lagos to request a place for their resettlement in Lagos, and they were apportioned the areas between the Central Bank of Nigeria on Broad Street up to Kamsalem, at Obalende. The waterhouse was built by Essen Da Rocha on the land apportioned to him. He was given 2 portions of land because he came back with his wife of Nigerian origin and 4 children, so he also got a portion of land on Tanuba Street. While building his own house, Essen built it as a replica of the house he lived in Brazil. His houses are the famous Waterhouse at Kwikawa Street and the other one is on Fort Tanuba Street, both on Lagos Island. Essen died at the age of 88 and was buried at Ikoyi Cemetery. Candido Da Rocha stepped into his father's business empire, which he later expanded and consolidated into a multi-million-pound financial empire, straddling agriculture, hotel, trading, real estate, banking and financial investment. There is light at the end of the tunnel. Univ iPhone source.